The Gita's anti-Vedic theory of incarnation is very important in this regard. The incarnation of God is not found anywhere in the Vedas, whereas in the Gita it has been considered as the main principle. On the basis of this principle, Krishna, the alleged speaker of the Gita, has called himself God. With this he has tried to show his greatness. It has also been said in the Gita that when religion is defamed, incarnations like Lord Krishna are born, yada yada hi dharmasaya glanar bhavati. Bharat, abhyathanamad harmasya tatmanas rajamyaham, paritranaya sadhunan vinashayat ch duskritam, sambhavami yugiyuj for the establishment of religion, Gita 4:7-8. This theory is very vague and should be considered logically. This creates mutual antagonism and questions arise in the minds of the people as to why this is not written in the Vedas. Therefore, the principles given in the Gita need to be understood from a logical perspective. Hinduism is a very broad religion that covers many spiritual elements. This religion has two world-famous scriptures, one of which is Bhagavad Gita and the other is Vedas. This is such a mutual opposition between the two texts which is an indicator of our intellectual inertia. The specialty of Hinduism is that it contains many elements concerning religious rituals, religious debates and religious disputes. Hindus are such devotees of the Gita that they not only tolerate this opposition without any hesitation, but have been appreciating it as well. This situation is very deplorable because such a huge contradiction between two opposing religious texts not only causes social and political controversies, but also shows how deep our intellectual inertia has become. We need to completely reject one of the two scriptures to get rid of this. A section of scholars, among whom the Arya Samajists have a special place, recognized this mutual antagonism between the Vedas and the Gita in the last century itself. A disciple of Swami Dayanand Saraswati took the first step in trying to avoid this opposition. Bhimsen observed that the God of the Gita is corporeal, which is contrary to the doctrine of the formless God in the Vedas. He quickly removed the verses containing the word ego or mother by making them half moon and removed about 238 verses from the Gita by calling them projected. On the other hand, Arya Samaji scholar point, Arya Muni adopted a different method to solve this yakshaprasna. He changed the meaning of the term ego to God and the meaning of the term mother to Vedic Dharma, but compared to point, Bhimsen's effort, this second attempt is laughable. See, History of Arya Samaj, by Nardav Shastri Vetirtha. p. 235, but this second attempt is ridiculous in comparison to point, Bhimsen's effort. Those who think that the Gita should be taught in Sanskrit in its entirety and correct form are mistaken. This shows how high and advanced our thinking is. Under the spell of this thinking, people shortened the Gita so that they could understand it. Pandit Bhumitra Sharma Aryopedish and Pandit Shivdutt Shastri printed a version of Gita from Bhaskar Press, out of which only 13 chapters were kept. After that, another edition came out from Lahore, in which only 70 verses were kept. In this way, in order to destroy the Gita, it was chopped into pieces. This was just a method, which could not prove to be effective even with the superficial plaster. That is why, due to Gita's inability to uproot the anti-Vedic principles, the entire Gita is overshadowed. But it is important for all of us to know who is responsible for this destruction of the entire Gita. Scholars of Arya Samaj had removed some verses from Bhagavad Gita, because they found opposition from Vedas and Puranas. He tried to bring Gita to the confluence point of Vedic religion by removing the verses. Here are some examples of verses whose verses were removed by Arya Samaj scholars. 1. Verse 59, Sri Krishna says, Durganda cha pradishtan cha mudanabhijanati. It means that ignorant people do not know bad smell and prestige. According to the scholars of Arya Samaj, this shloka should not be only the verses of Vedas, so they removed it. 2. Shloka 73, Sri Krishna says, Brahmanist karmani sangam tyakva karodiya. It means that one who acts with the renunciation of the Brahmanas becomes pure. According to the scholars of Arya Samaj, there should not be a confluence of karma and sacrifice in this verse. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita Adhyaya 15 Shlok 7 the Lord says, Mamavamsho jivlok jivabuddha sanatana, mat, partaram nanyatkinchadasti dhananjay. It means that I am the eternal soul who is within all living beings. Me there is no other best thing in the most advanced position. In this verse, there is a denial of Jiva Brahma unity by Lord Sri Krishna. In verse 61 the Lord says, Isvara sarvabhnir junatistati. Brahmian Sarvabhutani Yantraradani Maya. It means that God is in the heart of all beings and moves them around in the yantra of Maya. Here Lord Krishna has described the illusory powers of Lord Shiva. But the scholars of Arya Samaj believe that God is formless and omniscient, who is not affected by any yantra or illusory power. He considered this verse to be untrue and antithetical to the Vedas and removed it from the Gita. Also in Adhyaya 9 Shlok 25, where the Lord says, Yenti devavrata devnapatinti pitravrat. Bhutani yenti bhutijya yenti madhyajino pai mam. It means that the devotees who worship me, their ancestors go to the gods and they go to the ghosts, but the scholars of Arya Samaj believe that God visits only those devotees who worship him selflessly. That's why he considered this verse also against the Vedas and removed it from the Gita. From this we know that Bhagavad Gita talks anti-Veda at many places. We see that the main theme of the Vedas and the main philosophy of the Gita are different. The avatarism of the Gita is opposed to the Vedas.